The winning team.
Is there too much hype with this team, Gator?
I don't think there's too much hype with this team.
Is appropriate hype?
I think it's appropriate level hype. Yes, I do. There are some teams that are forced down your throat, and I think the Chiefs have been that team, and for good reason. They won Super Bowls. The Patrick Mahomes is forced down our throat. I get it. He's the best player in the league. There's no question about it. But you know what? Lions are getting their hype right now, and they deserve it. And we should feel really comfortable with that. We should be chesty about this team. Are you chesty about this? Do you feel comfortable in your own skin when talking about the Lions? Because this is foreign territory for us as Lions fans. We have felt this way about the Red Wings in the past. We felt this way about the Pistons in the past. A little bit with the Tigers. A little bit. But never with the Lions. Not since the 50s. I mean, it's been that long. They exercised a lot of demons last season. Division win, playoff berth, multiple playoff wins for the first time since the 50s. Getting back to the NFC Championship game. It was a heartbreaker of a game, but it doesn't stall my momentum and my enthusiasm for this team. I'm very comfortable with how confident I am about this team.
To be honest with you, although that was just gut-wrenching, the way they lost to the Niners, and it was heartbreaking, it gives me more confidence because they manhandled the Niners in that first half. That game was theirs to be won, and you give credit where it's due. The Niners took the opportunities given to them in the second half to come back and win that game. But, I think the Lions blew it more than anything. And my point is they showed they can play with the best in the league on the road. I mean, roster from top to bottom, everyone had the Niners better than the Lions for good reason. The Lions went in there, and George Kittle was joking about it, but, he comes on after the game and says, I'm not going to lie, they had us in the first half, because they did.
Yeah, they did. They had a 17-point lead in the second half, and unfortunately, weird.
We know what happened.
Confluence of plays happened. And I got it. But even though that happened, it doesn't dissuade me from how chesty I am about the Lions. 248-539-9797. Dean is on a cell phone. You're next up here, 97 on the ticket. Hey, Dean.
Hey, guys. Afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm super excited about the Lions. I've been a diehard Lions fan my whole life, through the good, the bad, the ugly. Now it's starting to get good. We had season tickets last year. We have season tickets again. It's just exciting. I got an 8-year-old boy, so he's really watching me, every Sunday it's football, and I'm smoking something on the smoker, and he's glued into it now. So it's exciting.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're smoking something on a smoker. I thought it was going to be something else you were going to say there in front of an 8-year-old, which would be inappropriate, sir. That would be inappropriate, but that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about smoking some meat and enjoying Lions football.
Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you, Dean. I appreciate it. We should all feel good about this team moving forward, that there's not too much hype about it. You know what? More. How about more? I think it's an appropriate level right now, Kang, but if they were when we get closer and closer to training camp, there's going to be more and more stories focused on the National Football League, and they're going to start talking about the Lions again because everybody's going to get their articles ready about, hey, here are the teams that are going to be contending for the NFC, and they have to include the Lions. You cannot exclude the Lions. You can't do it. Not going to happen. You can talk that there's other competition. Packers, and listen, the Packers are a team to be reckoned with. I think that's a good football team. I think Philadelphia's a good football team. I think the Cowboys are, well, we'll see. San Francisco is, I think, a better football team than the Lions right now. But how much better? Home field mattered for them last year.
Or just a lucky bounce off someone's face mask.
I'm saying
and
home
a
field.
great play by Ayuk. But the thing is, with all the hype surrounding the Lions, all the great articles of how they have, top 5 at offensive line, top 5 running back duo, whatever. Just, hey, they should win the division. They're going to be a team to watch for the NFC Championship game. I haven't seen anyone really debunk it because this isn't a hot take anymore. This is real.
No, it's not.
Like the old days, someone would come out and you knew it, Gator, that I'll be the guy. I think this is the year the Lions, make the playoffs, win the NFC or whatever. And we're like, no, it's not actually why you got to try to, because they're trying to call their shot.
Right.
But this year, this is legit on paper. What we think is going to happen is the Lions are going to be a good team.
Without question. Yeah. I mean, they're deserving to be on these lists. And okay, you look at what were the flaws with the Lions last year, because they had flaws. Every team does. And you look specifically to the defensive side of the ball. Okay, they need to improve the defense. Where? Specifically, the secondary. It was the rotation of corners by the end of the season was terrible. What'd they do? They improved it dramatically. Here comes Carlton Davis in a trade. They're going to go out and we're going to, sign players in free agency. Here comes Robertson, Amik Robertson from the Raiders. What about the draft? What do you do in the draft? Oh, my God, look who's available still on the board at 22. Let's go up and get him. They go out and they get him. Here comes Terry and Arnold. Some had him as the top. Some had him as the second best corner in the draft, and the Lions were able to go up and get him. Well, now, oh, my God, what did they do in the second round? Here comes Ennis Rakestraw, another one of those top corners available, and they decided to double down on the position. I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. And they could still make some moves. They still have money to spend. We're going to get to training camp, and a few weeks into training camp, there's going to be cuts. And whether the Lions decide to go after some more players or not, maybe even before training camp, maybe there's another signing they have because there's still these safeties that are out there. If you want to go and get a safety, you can still get a really good safety. Can't believe these guys are still out there, but they're there. If you want to improve it there, you can. But that's the area they had to improve. And did they? Yes. I don't think there's any question. You cannot argue with me that the secondary is worse than they were last year. You can't. It's a vast improvement. Even if I'm relying on a true rookie to come in there and start, it's still better than what they did last year. And it's not just the rookie. It's the veteran players they brought in as well. I really like this team. And then you can say, well, what about the defensive line? Okay, here's DJ Reader. Is he going to be healthy enough? That's the question with him. He'll be healthy at some point, and he'll make a difference because he's a difference maker right in the middle of that defensive line. Maybe don't expect him at the start of training camp, but by the end of training camp, I expect him. I expect him for the season. And hopefully he makes a difference. And the other guys, you're hoping they stay healthy. And James Houston, Marcus Davenport, they can make it's just a better team. You can't tell me it's worse than what they were last year. And what they were last year was runner-up in the NFC. Be comfortable with it.
Yeah, but you still got to play the games, though.
Absolutely. But I'm going to be comfortable right now. They haven't played any games yet. We can be as comfortable as we want. But I do feel comfortable with it. I'm not saying it and ducking and running. If I say this team's a 13-win team, I don't have to hide underneath the desk.
No, that's real.
That's realistic. They won 12 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Got some feedback. Ticket text coming in. 248-539-9797. The Lions will regress and go 9-8 or worse. I shoot the boot, guarantee it. Jacob and Novi. Well, get that boot ready, my friend. Get it ready. Gator, I'm so chesty on the Lions, I may need a bra soon. That's from Luke in Lake Orion. He's calling for a bra, not a bro. Not a man's ear. A bra. I've got a Jared Goff voodoo doll and care for that thing like a baby bird. The Lions are one rolled ankle away from disaster, John in Lake Orion. So is every other team. Right? Not many teams in the National Football League have a good backup quarterback situation. They just don't. So I understand the sentiment. There's no question that there's a down.
Yeah, sure. But guess what the Lions do have? One of the best offensive lines in the league.
That they do. They have a great running back tandem. And I think a much improved defense. I feel much more comfortable that they could stay afloat if that scenario takes place than I did a year ago. You have the two things that make for perennial contenders: good drafting and good coaches / coordinators for development. It's what elevates the regular season division winners from the flash in the pans. That's from Russ in Livonia. Yeah, I think they have excellent drafting, and I think they have good coaches / coordinators. I think another reason Lions fans were always apprehensive, and maybe even apprehensive after the season, this one, was because they thought for sure they were going to lose Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson stayed. Is this going to be his last year with the Lions? I don't know. I'm not as worried about that as others are. Is it a concern? Sure, it's a concern. But, keep in mind that when Ben Johnson was elevated to become the offensive coordinator, Dan Campbell was calling plays after they let go Anthony Lynn. And the offense started turning things around. Dan Campbell's not a dummy. Dan Campbell knows the offense. Now, I'm not taking credit away from Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson's very good at what he does. I'm just saying that if Ben Johnson were to leave, the pillars are in place. You got a veteran quarterback who knows the offense. You've got other coaches there that know the offense. And most importantly, you've got a head coach that showed him the way to begin with. I'm okay with it.